to this when it's my turn.
So, sorry, Markus.
No, I say I will come back to this proposed note when it's my turn.
Okay, Francois, please go on. Or
I just wanted to comment. There was somebody was asking about the performance results or the targets and for different types of services. I wanted to clarify that the white paper focuses on the definitions, but this is not a targets definition. Sorry, a document with targets performance for specific services. I wanted to clarify that. That's it.
yeah, okay. So Markus, but please let's try to propose on, so let's try to be specific on how to do with the proposal.
Yes, I try to do that now. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would say QoE is, also if I take my original note here, QoE is should be expressed with explicit reference to purpose, context, and content. I would keep this part. Also to remove these appreciation capturing functions, we don't need that anymore when we have the text from the Qualinet definition, but we should actually recommend to provide the information on the purpose, the context, and the content. Because that is, also to me, that is often missing. That was also something that came up in our discussion. That contributes to the confusion, I would say.
Yeah, Jan is here. So stepping back a little bit on what we're trying to achieve here, first of all, we definitely need a note, because recognizing ongoing research on this topic, working definition, was yesterday's news, right? So this has to go, my opinion. I think there are two elements that we're trying to convey in this note. And again, apologize if I'm not expressing, or I'm trying to get the consensus of what I heard. First, that the purpose and context matters for QA. And I think that's captured the way I see it right now reasonably. The other part is this appreciation capturing functions. And again, the word express is a little bit of a strange term in the sense that usually humans express their either opinion or... So are we really trying to capture here in this note that we are trying to estimate through some other factors, these functions that we call them?
We lost you, Jan. Pablo, can you hear us?
I cannot hear them too.
Also, maybe we have lost the other side.
I can hear the remote workers, but not the room on my side.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was just
I was first suspecting my VLAN here at home that I got a freeze, but no.
Okay, we are back. As you probably have guessed, we had an internet outage. So the point I was trying to make is the term appreciation, expression, function. What is the intention of that original text? Was it trying to capture the fact that because we want an external method of estimating the user's QE, we have these functions that try to guess it, or something else? What was the intention of that sentence?
Also the basic idea was, first of all, appreciation. That is basically what is now covered by this new note. This is about the user, how they reflect upon a usage and what they express. Of course, with the functions, we probably got trapped already too much in the modeling. Because, of course, it doesn't have to be a function. It can be also a pure observation.
What capturing refers to what? Who is capturing what?
So, yeah, so the function should capture the appreciation. They should somehow reflect the appreciation. So, for instance, like a utility.
Okay. So I think, yeah,
but
probably.
But for me, this can go. When we have the other node, it's covered.
Okay.
So I think we should have. So okay. Let me move. So if we move this. Sorry, I can do it. Thank you. So this could be like the new nodes, having everything together.
Yes.
So, Pablo, while you're moving this, I have a question about the couple of things. When we say explicit reference to the purpose and context of their use, are you planning to keep that, Marcus, or is it something that and that will also go?
No, that I would say this is very important to do that, because you have different kinds of QE models as well. Whether you use them for planning or whether you use them for monitoring.
So
and of course also on the different levels that the QE is. I mean, the examples I was just following.
So
so purpose, for example, could be planning as an example, and the context could be the video streaming as a context, or as an example.
Yes. But for instance, that people are not using models that are purposed for something completely different. I think which has been a very widespread sin in the QE community, at least initially.
That's true. I was just thinking, like, whether should it be also further explained in such a way that by citing some examples so that it's clear to the stakeholders, right? So, for instance, context could be this, and purpose could be this.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the right purpose and context, then VMAF is for instance, is the measure to use. But it doesn't. It's not just because it's a highly complex model with that takes all different things into account. I mean, it's really for the purpose. So I think we should be a bit more. This also gives us a bit more flexibility. What we put under the umbrella of QE, but we have to be explicit what it is.
The question, I have a little bit of a problem with the exact formulation of the second part of the note. So first of all, I'm really happy to actually promote this original second part of the QE definition to a note from the white paper. And the issue I have is with the term "their use," right? I mean, what is used actually, right? It's a bit, the reference is actually wrong there or undefined. And I'm wondering, is that not something that, I mean, we're so quality of experience is really, first of all, like a generalized concept which we have here, which is applicable to video, to whatever, speech, anything, right? That is done using telecommunications service means. And then we have in section 4, the specific, instantiations where we say, okay, it could be user reporter QE or it could be model QE, right? And then isn't it in that context that you want to have the expression of the explicit reference to purpose and content and context, rather than in the general definition of what QE is, right? Because I mean, in the general definition of QE, it's the concept of, okay, I'm using that particular service, right? I'm also fine to have something like that as an additional extension of the initial note. I'm totally fine with it, right? I just want to make sure we know why we want to have it there, right? Is it if someone writes a paper about a specific instance of QE results, then of course it would be either in user-reported QE terms or in model QE terms, right? It would be somehow quantified, right? Put to a scale, and then of course you would need this this knowledge of what was the purpose, context, and content, or whatever you formulated it, Marcus, right?
We have formulated that, Alex. We did that together.
Yeah, we didn't have content. That's why you amended it.
Okay, yeah, please jump in, the ones who are online. So Karan.
So Alex, what you mentioned, I think in the section 4 and subsections, in that case, it also makes sense to somehow associate these terms. So I'm with you on that as well, in terms of context and usage. And the examples can be cited within the document itself or whatever it is. That these are specific examples that we are talking about. So it is narrowed down the scope also.
Yeah, so what I'm just thinking here about, this is still on the general term before one starts going into the specific QE definitions. And the reason to put that note actually was just to make people aware of that this is important to say. And I think I see the risk if we omit this here, then people just will continue doing as they did, claiming each other for not using it the right way or not. Also, I mean, if this hint that it would be helpful, or maybe we can phrase it also differently, the hint that it is just helpful to specify the purpose and context. I think it belongs here. And not later, because later, of course, I mean, there it's obvious. But here it raises at least a flag that people should pay attention to this.
Okay, I kind of agree. So I think. But what is it there? It should be its use.
Can we? What
Its
about
use,
we drop
yeah.
there? Yeah, exactly. Of use.
Yes.
Yeah. Of
its
use.
use.
Yeah, no, I think it's okay because we have the user's personality in current state, right? So it's all about the user, and then, if you read it together, it could hopefully make sense, right? So it's the context of use. I mean, of the application or service. I mean, we could also repeat the. It's fine. It's fine with me. Yeah.
But this gives a different meaning now. Also, I mean, here it was really about the quality of experience description as such. What is it for? So it's not about the application or services. So it's more whether the QE is used for planning or for monitoring or for pure modeling, for understanding, for finding out factors, all these kind of things. It's a different dimension. So what are we using the QE stuff for? I mean, for instance, system QE. Yeah, where's the difference to user reported? I mean, it becomes clear from chapter 4. But I'm just to make people aware of this.
At the risk of adding to the confusion, I'd like to point out that interest level in the content itself is not something we're trying to measure. Okay? So it would be useful to clarify that in this context, I think.
Yeah. And that is not the purpose here either.
So fundamentally, QoE is user's perception of the underlying application of a service, right? If we agree to that, or so if you're talking about perception of user's perception, so someone has to express it. So when I read it like this, QoE should be expressed with. So who is going to express it? If human is perceiving it, is it going to be expressed by the user or human itself, or is it going to be done by a particular stakeholder? So
I want us to think of this sentence purely linguistically for a second, right? Forget about the inherent meanings, right? It refers to something, right? What is it in the it's? Is it quality of experience? Is it the user? Is it the service? What exactly does it refer to?
In that case, it refers to quality of experience.
Okay. That's Marcus's interpretation. Does anybody else? Because I had a slightly different interpretation when I read it. The purpose and context of the user was what I was thinking, right? Because I, as a user, have a purpose. I have a context. I have a phone. That's my context. So, but
I think, if I may, probably what Marcus has meant to say is that stakeholders reporting on or measuring quality of experience should express it with explicit reference to purpose and context.
Yep.
In which it is being reported or measured, you know?
Yeah, that's the general.
Okay, so could you then propose, instead of saying it's, context of quality of experience use, or that's the it's what you just said? It refers to quality of experience, correct, Marcus?
Yes.
I don't know.
So it in this case, I'm with you on this. It in this case means it's referring to QoE, but QoE then has to be defined a different way. Or is it like a metric? QoE, we're defining QoE and then we're referring it to itself.
QoE is the degree of the delight or annoyance.
Okay. So is it a metric, or are we considering it as a metric, or are we just taking it as a definition?
I mean, this is the definition, yeah. It is not a metric. The point is, it can be a metric. It doesn't have to be, and the metric can look differently depending on the conditions that you're using it for. That is the tricky part of it. It's a concept, but you have to depending on what you do it and what you use it for, you have different ways to express it.
If Marcus, from my perspective, if we read it, context of use to me personally makes more sense compared to context of QoE use. So we are referring to QoE and then looping it back to the QoE use. So to me, it's a bit odd. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, the point. Maybe we find a completely better and simpler wording, because we also have to consider that this is now from another node that has been taken apart. So that some things get a bit strange now that the part is missing is maybe also obvious. But the point is just we need to make sure that when we talk about, then I try to say it in simple words. When we talk about quality of experience, it's important that we say the purpose and the context that we are talking about it. So the question is, can we bring this into a node?
Okay.
Purpose and context
sorry,
use,
guys.
right?
Sorry, guys. There are some people in the room who has their hands risen for a while, and we need to close down this because we can. I know that. So basically, the purpose of this node that we are discussing is that when we talk about QoE, we should make sure that we refer to the purpose of context of the discussion of the of anything. I think it's like the QoE doesn't operate on void, but on a specific situation. No, I think that's more or less the message. So I don't know, Femi, maybe you have a proposal for that.
Yeah, I was going to say that can't we just my proposed text would be quality of experience should be expressed with explicit reference to the purpose and context of use with respect to application, service, and whatever comes after that. Because if we have QoE twice, that's not linguistically.
Sorry, but there will be double respect then because we use respect another side too. Instead of use, I recommend interpretability. In the first
So the quality of experience should be expressed with explicit reference to the purpose and context of use with respect to application, service. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So to application, service, and every other thing we want to define in that space.
Yeah, I mean, go with David online, but I have the feeling that, you know, we are really not, so we are really discussing something which nobody is going to care about outside this room ever. So you know, any of these options is totally okay for me. I mean, please, David, go, but I will probably keep this progress a bit, and then we have until the 26th to bomb me with emails if you have strong opinions on that.
That's good. Agreed.
But David, please, you have David Yuska online.
Okay, so I think that we just are in the problem that we want to describe many things in one definition. From a legal point of view, it's better to what ITU suggests to write one-liner, one sentence definition for QoE as there was expected there, and then define what is user, what is other parts. So make other definitions, sub-definitions, or definitions that express what we mean by service, by application. And then we will have, let's say, fulfill the requirements of ITU, and let's say the idea of having it simple. For example, when you find the definition of quality, it's connected with expectation, but we operationalize it with delight or annoyance. So let's keep it in this way, but later define the specific terms that are in this definition. So we'll have, for each term, we'll have another, let's say, context for a, let's say, service or application. I think this is the way we could, let's say, satisfy everyone's needs in this transmission.
Thanks. I propose moving on. I don't know if I can make this better, but I think we have a decent proposal that anyway will be discussed in ITU and probably, you know, rejected and needed to modify. So that's it. So okay. So moving on. Regarding this part, my explicit proposal is that among all these definitions, and I will try to make them fit on one page. Yeah, these are all the definitions in the white paper. So, except that we will add a note to the user-reported QoE saying that it's what we usually. So this is subjective quality, and model QoE is subjective quality, or whatever we mentioned that. Beyond that, we keep them exactly as they're in the white paper, and we only need to decide if we want to propose all of them together at the same time, or we want just to focus on the ones that we find more relevant. That is basically the main decision to be taken. And to be clear, I think that we need to propose this 4, at least, because we want to propose user-reported QoE and model QoE, and basically they both refer to QoE model and QoE metric. So it should be, you know, we need to rework some of the definitions if we don't put all of them. I am not so sure about the KPI, KQI, because there might collide. I mean, they're closer to the QoS domain, and they might collide with, you know, with other definitions. At least I haven't done the kind of state-of-the-art analysis of the QoS part to see how good they fit, and they really don't have any, you know, dependency with the rest of the things. So this is my thought. System QoE, I like it particularly, but it's a totally different topic. So I'm not 100% sure if we want to put them all or not. So my proposal is, I mean, these 4 ones for sure, and the other 3 I have some doubts. So I would like to, basically have what you think about this. So, okay, which is good, but what do we do with the 3 ones that I don't know what to do with? Okay, it doesn't solve my problem. Narciso, yes, somebody can. No.
My opinion is that when you are entering, let us say, another domain and try proposing modifying something they have done before, the less the best.
So basically focusing on the first 4, which is good enough, and let's fight the rest of the. Let's fight the next battle, the next meeting.
We don't need to prove that we are clever than them. We just want to have the modification of some part of the document.
Good. So yeah, Marcus and then Alex.
It's just a detail. I just see that metric and measure in the second one in the same context, but yeah, these are different things. Metric, for instance, is the.
I mean, in the context of the white paper, there have explicit meanings. Like so, QE metric is the MOS, and a QE model is an algorithm which predicts a QE metric, which is.
Yeah. That's true. But you have a QE metric, and you say quantitative measure, because the measure measures the metric.
Yeah, but I mean, we are not defining the word metric itself, right? So we want to define QE metric.
Thinking about that can be a source of misunderstanding. It's not a big deal. We can close it, but just because I'm just working on this part actually on another document, I had to keep them apart. Sorry that I didn't see it before.
Well, honestly, I'd propose exactly the wording that we already have agreed, and then let's see if if we get some objections from ITU itself, then we can fix it. Yeah, Alex.
Just a brief one about you were asking about the ones that you have not yet included. I'm totally in favor of keeping the 4 that you have highlighted there. Super. Then the other 2 subsequent ones, I'm also totally fine with them. And the system QE, I also like it. But I think it would then require, at least in brackets also, whether it would be to not kind of make the other definitions which we already have highlighted there and want to have kind of redundant, right, would be that there is some notion of, is it user reported or is it is in the text? Yes, but I think there should be a modifier, because if you say, if a paper describes system QE, it must actually contain the modifier. How was that expressed? Is it actually by a model, right? Or is it actually by a metric? Or is it user reported? Yeah. But that's a minor thing. Let's discuss it in the ITU meeting. I'm just saying, I think, and I have the impression there's probably consensus in the room that the 3 additional terms are also good, right? I just would be careful with the 3rd one, the system QE, because it could just be yet another term which is used in an unclear manner in future communication. That's it.
Yeah, Francois, please.
Yeah, I do agree with the proposal to do the first 4 as the primary, I guess, focus for the discussion. The other 3 will probably have more contention, so I would agree with pushing more on the first 4. And we're going to show also the hierarchical or the hierarchy of the diagram, I think, in a table, right? That I think the layered approach. Is that correct?
It's going to be in the contribution. It's not planned to propose to be included in the recommendation itself. It's more for giving context to that. But yeah, okay. So I think we have a reasonable agreement. So let's you put this 4th one. I mean, user reported QE, QE metric, QE model, model QE. I will remove the other 3, and I will add a couple of notes. clarifying that this is objective and subjective. I mean, it is normally mentioned or frequently mentioned as subjective quality and objective quality, and that's it. So I will rewrite. I mean, I will finalize the draft and circulate it. I mean, tomorrow probably, because we have a very few days. I've noted down that most of the people who took part in the discussion. So at least Marcus, Alex, Karan, Werner, Francois, myself, Camille, Narciso, and Femi as potential contributors to that. Probably I missed somebody else. So if any of you don't want to be, let me know. If anyone else want to be part of the contribution, let me know as well. That doesn't need to be now. But yeah, I will. Yeah. But make sure that you contact me by send me an email, please, because it's easier for me to then grab all the information. I will circulate the draft with you. So thanks a lot for this part. We have only 15 minutes for the. It was this one was the short discussion. So I'm pretty sure that the long discussion is not going to happen today, which is about next steps. But we are going to have the presentation by Karan. So Karan and Werner prepared with some contribution from others, but credit both, credit mostly to both of them. They prepared, well, also Federica put some effort as well, and probably others. So you have some proposal of potential ideas on a plan on how to test the things of the white paper. So we will not have time to discuss it. I will probably set up a meeting, a proper meeting to discuss this with the 5G KPI people. So anyone who's interested on that, make sure that you email me so that I'm sure I don't forget it, or you. But at least let's introduce the ideas and have a short warm-up discussion on that. So I'm sorry, Karan, for stealing the time, but we needed to finalize the other discussion. No, I was too optimistic. So
but
thanks.
This is how it is, right? So we have so many people with so many viewpoints, and I think it's a good thing. But perhaps we can take what we discussed now in the next 15 minutes and have separate meetings to see how we can proceed a bit further. So, but yeah, so go on that note, you can see my screen, Pablo.
Yes, we do.
Okay, excellent. So I had a meeting with Werner, and not just Werner, there were different contributors as well to this activity. There's an ongoing document in this. So many people have contributed to the thoughts and the ideas, including Federica, Pablo, Sarah, David, and many others as well. So this is sort of like an ongoing document where we are actually discussing about piloting something that can be shown as a valuable outcome from the ideas that are presented in the white paper itself. So just to kick off the discussions, we don't have enough time, but I'll just throw some points in for today to come back to it and reflect a bit later. So what I was thinking was to have a clear aim, was to realize the CAP and CSP collaboration vision from concept to a testable pilot by identifying use cases, metrics, and validation scenarios that can demonstrate real QoE improvement. And the aim is to actually bridge the gap between CAP and CSP here, right? So within the document itself, there's a notion of sharing the metrics between CAP and CSP via the shared state table, and this is something that you have already discussed, Pablo, here. So I was thinking perhaps we can relook, we can have a look at that table again and try and fine tune and hone in on a particular use case. But I will come back to that part later. The document also mentions about the primary focus. So it says short form video and long form video. Secondary is about video conferencing and cloud gaming. These are sort of like interactive services. And also running over 5G networks and with fixed access networks as secondary. So these are some of the elements that I have taken from the white paper itself. Just to shorten it a bit. From this discussion, it would be, I was hoping that we would have some expected outcomes to have a prioritized use case, whether it has to be a single use case or multiple use cases. Second would be to have sort of like a viable metric set that can be shared across CSP and CAP. While we can discuss it via the shared state table itself, and also a discussion and taking a position itself, whether should we go with a simulation, emulation, or real network trials, for instance. And possibly also identification of the first milestone for all of us in a way as to what is the minimum steps do we need to do to achieve a viable outcome that we can show as part of the validation of the ideas that are presented as part of this white paper. So this is what we were thinking in a way. So I would like to open the discussion. Let's think about the question. If we were to run a collaboration pilot, which use cases or which use case should we tackle first? And what metrics would count as a success? So this is for all of us to discuss. It's not just a presentation that I give or Werner gives. It's just about the discussion within the group itself. So going back to the primary focus areas, we have several use cases. The short form video, Werner was keen on that, long form video as well, and also interactive. So what I would like to discuss is whether does it make sense to focus on one single use case, or should we, given the expertise within the room itself, shall we tackle a couple of use cases together while working as separate teams? So what do you think?
Any comments? So I don't have a strong vision myself,
okay.
Because on the one hand, starting by one is kind of needed, right? Because at least I think we should do a first approach to one to see how it looks like, but we should probably add a second before dipping too much into a single one, because one of the purposes of the framework itself is that it would be multi-purpose, right? So that somehow the CAPs and CSPs didn't need to negotiate each framework for each use case, right? But we have something generic that people can use regardless the type of service they provide or the type of network they use. So that would be like my thought. Start by one, because there will be things that will break from minute one in the simplest use case. So start simple, but don't make it too deep until we are able to test simple versions of two. That would be my guess thing. But Francois has an opinion too.
Yeah, I think starting with one will make it simpler, of course. And as you said, Pablo, the purpose of the framework is to be also scalable to multiple. From the meta perspective, I would have a biased opinion to do the short form videos, but I welcome any other participants to comment on that.
Yeah, from the L2 side, as you might you already know, we have quite a good expertise in doing subjective tests. We have collected several data sets for cloud gaming, and we do have some models and QE data sets that we could really try to push our limits. We also have in our lab some like 5G infrastructure. I guess David knows more about that. He can comment on this. And I just wish I could somehow also be part of that, but using some of the data that we have collected, like packet traces and all these things. So, I mean, if it would be possible to perhaps open for a bit more than some of the use cases. Yeah, that's just a comment.
Thank you. Any other comment on this?
Maybe Pablo, as you meet with TIP next week, you said I think in Madrid that might be good to ask the same question about if they are interested in doing a pilot or field trial, and we can probably probe them as well.
I can do that, yes.
Sounds good. So with different use cases, what we have is, Werner, please, go ahead. I saw your hands raised.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a comment. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm actually about to board soon. I'm not sure how long I can stay in, but I think one of the original ideas or my concern was that, if we wanted something to provide something meaningful, that's also not like a 2-year project with 15 different parties, then we should really make sure that there's no scope creep. I mean, I'm sure we can do lots of things because there's so many experts in the room and we have so much existing data, but I think we should also be wary of, bolting on things that may not be necessary in the first instance, and we can always be iterative. Like if we have a good framework that works for a simple use case, and I would think that short-form video is a bit more simple than, say, interactive services, then by all means we can extend that if that is a success. But if we already start thinking about what we could do in the future in great detail, then probably it will not succeed ever.
Good point, Werner. Thank you. Marcus?
Oh, I completely second Werner's point, and I would also say really try to start with a rather simple case, but then take the opportunity to play with parameters, because if you have this shared table, I mean, it's basically the implementation of a control of the data for a control loop, also the communication between CAP and CSP, and we will have a couple of choices to make there. The question is, for instance, how quickly do you need to react if something goes wrong? So I think there is enough, more than enough, study potential in just such a case. Then of course, the moment that there's an understanding growing, then it's easier also to go to bigger cases and say, okay, if you already know the direction.
Sounds good. Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, so it's not like we are going to converge today, or it would be nice to actually reflect a bit and say, okay, this is the particular use case that we would like to actually implement. So that could be a very good outcome from this discussion also. So, and if you have to go back to let's say if we consider one of the particular use cases, let's say we have short form video or whatever, then we need to also look into the test scenarios, right? So in this case, we are considering the 5G network. Then there exists a couple of things that can be done. So either we take it as a stationary scenario where the services are actually provisioned over stationary, or whether the services are actually provisioned over mobile when the users are actually roaming, for instance. So this is also a point that perhaps we can discuss. And in line with that, what conditions should we test? For example, is it network congestion or is it handoff? So, François?
Yeah, these are good scenarios. Mobile obviously is always of interest because of the challenges, as you mentioned. We can probably do call it good mobile network conditions, so kind of the optimal one, and maybe do a second test case where we decide to use some form of degradation. You said congestion, throttling, and of what I would also, in the spirit of making that manageable, maybe put maybe two extreme conditions, a good network and a bad network to start with, and see if there is enough delta that forces us to go deeper. Advice, I would start even simpler with no handoff if it's simpler. But a congested cell might be a good one.
So perhaps it could be stationary condition first, stationary use case, while simulating, emulating, or whatever the congestion aspect, I guess.
Yeah, that would exercise one of the shared state table that we have about the network health. to prove that that loop could activate a different streaming bit rates, for example. That would be a good case.
Exactly. And also how quickly. Also how with which what are the dynamics of this process? Or what dynamics can be tackled?
Sorry, this is Yanni. I think I love the discussion, but before we drill a very big hole and maybe rat hole, I think it's very important to me to hear, because I think Francois and I can second that, not wearing, of course, my chair, but my meta hat, that on the CAP side, because you, again, meta represents at this point, there are other caps that we would like to listen to, but definitely on demand, streaming on mobile, short video is really the highlight that we can start with. I would like to hear from the CSP point of view, right? Because this is supposed to bridge the two major parties in this ecosystem, right? If we all agree, I think it should be driven, at least in the beginning, by a use case that is of utmost importance on the two biggest stakeholders here, is my suggestion. And then, of course, that doesn't mean that, researchers and academia should not provide more feedback on the additional details, but let's hear, if possible, from CSPs on whether we have an agreement on one. Let's focus on one, drill it down, iron out the details, and then multiply it is really what we should be doing. Instead of trying to identify which exact parameters right now we are going to be using is my suggestion.
Precisely. So the time is a bit short, so I will not go specifically into the parameter and even not look into the state table as well. So if we keep it at the higher level of identification of the use cases, that would be perfect, at least for the scope that we have today.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for that.
From AT&T, I agree with keeping it kind of vague right now because we can measure the KQIs. CSPs can measure the KQIs. So that's not included in the writing right now. So if we keep that kind of vague, when we want to cooperate together, find use cases that we can get alignment on, that's the purpose of this, right?
It's for you the mobile phone use case and short videos the most interesting. The same as
that is the probably the highest priority right now in terms of traffic on the network.
Then that's we have a good case for starting by that. Anyway, as kind of as said before, without digging too much into that, so that it's not exportable to any other things, then the whole purpose would break down. So sorry, Karen, but I think we should close the meeting for today, because the discussion will need to follow and we don't really have time today left. So I don't know if there's any specific message or thing that you want to broadcast or cover now that we are the plenary online before meeting the smaller group. So I don't know if there's any particular thing. Yeah, go on.
The couple of things actually still left. So use case is something that actually we touched upon quite nicely as well. It's better to have a longer discussion as well. But important aspect that we can perhaps take it in the working document here is the approach that we need to cover. Should we go with the simulation? Pablo, you provided the simulator as well, right? In a way, but should we go with the emulation or the test bed? So given the expertise within the group itself, I think we have a lot of ground that we can actually cover and hone in on which first approach should we take. So what I will ask Werner is perhaps to share this document with all of us, just to reflect on and provide the feedback within the group. That could be quite nice. The last thing was also to think about what, maybe it's just too early, about what IT/UT standardization activities could we work on right from the beginning rather than waiting till the end. And also the time plan, Pablo. What we see is that we are quite open, right? So if we were quite agile, as Werner mentioned, it could be quite interesting to, in the next meeting, to hone in down also on the time plan to see whether the first use case can be implemented in different labs to get something really valuable out of it. So this is what I wanted to cover, at least for today. given the time that we have.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't have a specific proposal for the timeline, but something that we should discuss. But we should be flexible because this is as with all the VQuery activities, we hope for a timeline, and then life will tell how how optimistic we were. But yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for this. I think Alex had a comment before I kind of do the closing remarks.
Just a quick note. I would really appreciate. I really am happy about this activity, right? And don't worry, I'm not suggesting we directly contribute so that we blow up the group that has initiated this. But I really would encourage that directly open source tools are used throughout, right? So that this is somehow, or at least that there's agreement within this group that all the tools that are being used can be used by others too, so that we can extend the approaches to other applications if they are successful now in this first pilot.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think whenever it's possible, it's reasonable. Our emulator is open source, so you can use it freely. We have other proprietary tools, but I'm not going to propose them for because I don't think I have enough supporting people for the activity anyway. So yeah, we will need to call a meeting. So let's discuss offline and look for a date. And yeah, I will probably send an email to the main reflector of VQuery announcing the activity, because we might catch up some people who is unaware of that might be interested in joining in this phase. So this is my proposal, that we I mean, at least the group that we are preparing that decide on a meeting date and things like that. So I'm not opening everyone to decide on the next steps, but probably send a broadcast message to the community to see if somebody else want to join. And I think this is an excellent starting point. So thanks a lot, Karan, Werner, and the rest for the effort of putting it together. I think it's a nice next VQuery next step. Yeah. I don't know if I hope Gianni will agree as a general chair, but I think it's a nice follow up of the VQuery white paper and doing some joint work together. That should probably be impactful, I think, from many points of view. So yeah, I think that's all for today from my side. So I go back to Gianni to close the session and the VQuery meeting. So thanks all the contributors online, and I will send the document. I mean the ITU contribution. I will circulate it through all the contributors so that we can send it on time.
So thank you, Pablo. And actually, I couldn't help but thinking when I was sitting there and I was trying to talk, and people were so passionate that they were bouncing. First of all, we miss you, the ones who are not here, the online people. So we need to make sure, or at least let's do our best next time to be everybody in the same place. I think it facilitates the discussion. We have, more opportunities. So thank you for joining. I know it's been hard. Some people from the US and all over Europe. I appreciate, and personally, just to close on the 5G KPI, it was a dream when it started, and to see the dream take place now, we're talking about an actual, the test that we're going to run is really, in my opinion, fantastic, and really the credit goes to the chairs who drove this, and therefore I think it's a very big accomplishment, and thank you for that. Closing 5G KPI means we are closing this edition of our face-to-face. 1 day short, and unfortunately one presentation short. We have to apologize to the person that just the presentation was cut short. It was a great event. It's always a great event, as I always say. And I want to be on record that among the, more well-known to the rest of the community conferences that I attend every year, I prefer the, VQuery, and because really the opportunity for interaction and be focused on one topic is unique. Thank you all for making the trip here. Thank you to the hosts, the local hosts, and all the people from the group here who put a great effort to provide us the coffee breaks and organizing the social event, not just yesterday, but the day before, the first, and tonight as well. So don't forget, it's not over before it's over. We have quite a a good list of follow-up action items. I think let everyone who has something to do, keep it in your mind. I know we always have a paying job, right? Daily job that we need to do, but this volunteering and moving our industry, I think, is very impactful. So I really hope that we stay engaged, we continue to contribute to the state of the art, and what can I say? Let's meet online in December, right? And next year in New York. Thank you.
So yeah, also thank you for coming. I would like also to thank all of my colleagues that supported, the hosting, everything, preparing the room, AV set, the coffee breaks, everything, and social programs. And speaking about social programs, perhaps Kamil, could you please maybe make the last announcement?
Social chair.
Yes, the social, the honorary social chair. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so but first I think for people online, yeah, we can end. Yeah, so thank you very much for participating. I hope to see you in person. Yeah, and let's keep in touch. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. So the first question I have is who would like to